All right, Jason King and Ashley Hodge here with the Sic Em 65 podcast, the Field of 68 podcast network. And we're so excited today to be joined by Jared Butler, key player in last night's big victory over number 5, Illinois, just a key player for Baylor overall the past 2+ seasons. Jared, thanks for being here. Let's get right to it. Huge game last night, but a big game against Gonzaga, even bigger game against Gonzaga this weekend, number 1 versus number 2. What's this team's mentality like right now after last night?
Yeah, huge win last night. I think playing against Illinois did a great service for us. There was a great team, and they kind of battle tested us a little bit, and they helped us find our identity and things of that nature. So I think going into this game, we're ready for another big game. You know what I mean? And it's a great time of the season because you're playing some hard-nosed, some tournament-like games, and this is where you kind of find your identity as a team, and looking to do that again this weekend.
So Jared, Jason and I were in attendance yesterday, and it was a really weird vibe for us watching the game. What was it like to be a player? I mean, there was a lot of chatter from the benches, but was it just a surreal experience?
Yeah, it took a lot of the excitement from the game, to be honest with you. Just from being a player, you love the pressure of the fans watching and, the momentum swings of the fans. It's an aspect of the game that's, very, very huge. But without it, it kind of does seem kind of dry. You got to kind of build your own energy, and that's what our bench did. Our bench did a great job of, finding us energy and just giving us energy any way that they can. But it's definitely weird. It's not the same at all. It doesn't feel like a top 5 matchup game. You know what I mean?
Right. I saw a lot of people commenting, Jared, on Twitter about your bench and even Illinois' bench and just the cheering and the energy it brought. I mean, does that come naturally? Do you have to tell yourself to do that, or do you just get really lost in the game and get hyped like that?
Yeah, once the game starts, I get lost in the game kind of. But before the game, walking out, doing warm-ups, it just doesn't. I feel kind of bland a little bit. And I kind of have to get myself going, saying this is very important, and telling myself that. And I think that our bench did a great job, like I said. So
now, before we move ahead to Gonzaga, that I don't want to downplay that win last night. Illinois, to me, is not overrated at all at number 5. An excellent team, very good defensively. They had a little bit of trash talk before the game from them. I heard. I mean, how prepared were you for what they brought to the table?
I thought we were pretty prepared. I think their defense was better than what I expected for sure. And you can see that in kind of the way we struggled in the first half. But like I said, I think they did a great job of helping us finding our identity and allowing us to go through some adversity. But, I think they're pretty good, man. I think they played hard, had some great players. And, I enjoyed it. Big time win, though.
All right, now you said their defense was a lot better than you expected. You hung 82 on them. I mean, so everyone's talking about how great Gonzaga's offense is, and it's impressive to watch. But you feel a little bit disrespected that we got a pretty good offense also, and you just hung 82 on a really good defensive team.
No, I don't. I kind of don't buy into the hype. I'm just a pretty mellow guy, and I think our team is kind of used to being disrespected or used to being underrated. At this point, it's we know we can't control anything with what people say. We only can control our play. So, I know for sure Gonzaga has a great offense. And I think that our defense is something that we're going to take pride in. And, that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Jared, you played Gonzaga a few years ago in the NCAA tournament, a really great competitive game. So you had a chance to kind of prepare for a Gonzaga team. Now you're looking at them again. Just when you think of their program overall, what impresses you?
I think a huge part is just the winning culture. I think it's hard to win games and win your conference back-to-back years in a row. And, their conference isn't as another Power 5 isn't as strong, but their ability to win games that, they kind of know they're going to win. And it's really tough to do that. So that's something that I really admire about them. And I think, like I said, the head coach does a great job of getting new guys and putting them through a system and a culture that helps win.
Jalen Suggs, their freshman guard, has gotten a lot of notoriety, and rightfully so. He's had a great start. When you've watched him, I don't know how extensively you've watched him yet, but what stands out?
Great player. I think a lot of things that's probably underrated about him is his ability to play and affect the ball on defense. I think he gets a lot of, major steals and, pretty active off the ball defender. That's something I really been noticing. And, I played with him at USA too.
Right.
And the same thing. He was, pretty active. He got involved in the game on defensively, and that's something that stuck out to me.
Now, Jared, we interviewed you. King McClure actually did the interview for a Sic Em 365 profile back before last season started. And one of the things that really stood out to me about that interview is how passionate you were about, not losing to Kansas and wanting to be the first Baylor team under Scott Drew to go beat Kansas at Kansas. I mean, that was a big goal of yours. Now Gonzaga is one of the few programs that Scott Drew hasn't beaten. I mean, is that do you take that personally? Do you want to, have a legacy to get that win?
Yeah, most definitely. When I think about the Kansas rivalry or the Kansas, having winning in Kansas, it was 17 years, and we played them every year twice. Like, that's something that was really stinging up on me. And I think with the same way with Gonzaga, a great program, great team that, is highly respected. And then I think for us to be one of those, highly respected programs, we got to beat teams like Gonzaga. And, that's what we're looking to do. And, I think it's going to be a great matchup, great game.
Jared, you've only, played a few games so far, but after, the attention you received deservedly at the end of last year and then a lot of talk, your name was in the headlines a lot this summer. Now that you're back on the court, are you noticing anything different from opponents and the way they're playing you? Do you feel any more pressure than you have in the past to live up to awards you've won and things like that?
Yeah, of course, just being a human being, you want to do well. You want to, play to what people think you are. You want to do this, all these types of things. And, naturally as a human being, those thoughts and those, pressures come. But I feel like as a basketball player, there's pressure every year. Like last year, there was pressure to perform, and now there's pressure to, kind of do what I did again. It's always going to be pressure. And I just kind of take that pressure and I funnel it to, how many games can we win as a Baylor at Baylor? How many games? How many Big 12 championships can we win? How far can we go in the tournament? Can we win a national championship? That's what my goal is, and that's what my focus has been. And I think the rest of the stuff will take care of itself. And just really trying to buy in with Baylor and not get so caught up in that.
There was a key stretch last night. I mean, 'cause people will see the score that didn't watch the game and think it was a real lopsided game, but it was a great close game for most of it. But there was a key stretch about midway through the second half when you guys went on the 27-11 run and kind of, pulled ahead for good. And Ashley and I looked at each other after the run and thought, wait a minute, Butler wasn't even in the game for most of that. And usually, you're the guy keying those runs. That's certainly not a knock on you. But how as good as this team's depth was last year, I mean, this depth now is even better, right? With Matt stepping up and Adam and JT.
Yeah, man, those guys are incredible. I think that's just a byproduct of how hard they work and the characters of those guys, like, Adam and John and Maceo and Davion. What they do in the gym it's ridiculous. And that run, and me and Mark was actually on the sideline. We were like, wow, they don't need us. We were like, y'all killing it. Y'all go ahead, do y'all's thing, man. Because man, those guys work hard and they're great players. Believe me, and those guys deserve just as much credit as anybody on the team. And I was happy looking forward to seeing what they did. And like I said, that Illinois game helped us a lot. Helped us find who we are.
Absolutely.
So, how different is it being a player with all these COVID restrictions? Like, is there something on the road? Are you rooming by yourself? Are they trying to do everything they can to avoid contact tracing?
Nah, yeah, we get tested every day.
Right.
The testing has been by far the worst. When we were in Vegas, we had like the actual test, like where they go all the way up the nose, like twice, and it was brutal. I had nightmares thinking about having the test again. It was ridiculous, and it's just anything besides that, we have roommates, and they try to keep us spaced. The games, we're in the mask. That's kind of been a little weird, but
yeah.
Other than that, we just try to focus on the basketball game and try to limit the COVID. At this point, it's like 5 months into dealing with COVID, so we're kind of used to it.
Yeah.
What do basketball play like? Because you played Illinois on a Wednesday, and then you have Thursday and Friday where you have no games, and you're just kind of like, I don't know if quarantine is the right word, but you're in this hotel for 48 hours when you're not watching film. What are you doing?
Yeah, sadly, very sadly, we have schoolwork to do, and it's like it's exams around this time, and like I have to take 2 exams today, and I had to take exam the day before the game. Like it's kind of like I'm glad because it gives us something to do, but other than that, we're usually just watching other college basketball games. We're watching like shows like Law and Order or like playing Uno in the room. That's some stuff we do, but other than that, right now we're doing a lot of schoolwork and trying to catch up and trying to stay student athletes.
It feels weird to run into you in the elevator in the hotel here, but then to interview you, we all have to go to 3 separate rooms and get on this.
Yeah, crazy.
Last thing, are you watching other games? I mean, as a basketball fan, I mean, the Big 12's really representing pretty well so far, isn't it?
Yeah, no, we've been watching the Maui or the Asheville Invitational, and we've been, watching teams. It's fun, especially with it being a new season, and we haven't seen basketball in like 200 and some days, and it's nice to see basketball back on TV, and it's been fun.
So I know Jason wants to ask you who gets the credit for Baylor switching to man-to-man defense. Who put that bug in Scott Drew's ear? But before he asks you that question, do you have any pregame rituals? Is there anything that you do that relaxes you?
I have to take a nap. I have to, no matter like how long, like at least 20 minutes, like no matter what, I have to take a nap. And then usually after nap, like I try to take a cold shower, and I take a cold shower just to get my mind to focus on the right things, and that's something that's helped me a lot. And I think those are my 2 things that I for sure are my rituals, at each game. That's it.
Yeah, the question about the man-to-man defense, the owners, the podcast, the Field of 68 podcast, Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster, they both said Jared told us that he went to Scott Drew at the beginning of last season and said man-to-man, and then we heard it might have been Davion Mitchell, and maybe Scott Drew will take. I mean, how did that all? Because Baylor was a zone team for so long. How'd that all evolve?
Yeah, I was there in the conversation, but Davion was the guy, I think, for sure, that said, we need to go man. And I was a guy, like, we just played 1 season playing zone, and I kind of liked it, kind of didn't like it. It was very just, I kind of struggled because I wasn't as long and lanky as, like, Jake Lindsey. But I don't know. I think it was definitely Davion Mitchell. And then when Davion looked at me talking to Coach Drew, I was just like, yeah, like why not? Like,
yeah.
So I give Davion credit.
I think it's interesting because guys like Mark Vidal and Davion Mitchell and Freddie Gillespie last year, I mean, people talk so much about their defense because they're so intense and so good. But man, I was watching you last night and Matt Meyer, I mean, and lots of guys. I mean, y'all are making plays too. I mean, do those guys kind of like set the bar and y'all are all trying to?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Coach Tang likes to call them goons. And, I want to be known as a goon. So I'm like, I'm always talking smack to Davion whenever I get a stop. I'm like, see, I told you, like, I'm like that a lot of times. But, and those guys set the bar. They're incredible in their intensity. So it only raises our intensity. You know what I mean?
Jared, I want to ask you, I know faith is important to you. I interviewed your parents. Did you listen to that podcast by chance?
Yeah, I did. They begged me to listen to it. I did.
Okay.
I remember a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that was very insightful, and loved getting them on the podcast and hearing some good stories about you. But I know faith is very important to you. How has your Christian faith grown at Baylor, and what does it mean to you?
Yeah, tremendously, man. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I would probably take from Baylor is just my faith and what God has done in my life and my ability to see it. And people at Baylor have just been incredible pouring into me and giving me a space to grow in my faith and being surrounded by just the light and just people that just pour into me, like I said. But man, it's helped me in basketball. It's helped me with my relationships with my friends, and helped me with girls, and dating the right way and things of that nature. So that's really just been one of the biggest things Baylor has put me in life, besides just basketball and just the college experience. But yeah.
Jared, obviously it's obvious you've gone through a lot of personal growth, off the court during your time at Baylor. And I know a lot of times college players, they get to college and they think, man, I'm going to do well here and then go on to a pro career. And they don't really think beyond that. And I know that's a goal of yours, but how much now has just leaving a legacy at Baylor and become a thing that's important to you, and just kind of leaving something behind that you're proud of, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
You have a chance to be remembered as one of the best players to ever play there, not just on the court, but for the way you carry yourself off of it. Is that kind of a driving force too?
Yeah, without a doubt. Doing things like winning the Big 12 first ever at Baylor, things of that, and more so just the coaching staff and how well they've treated me and the relationships I built with, like Coach Drew. I want to be able to come back and it feel like home, because guys with, like, at other schools like Kentucky or at Kansas, like those guys are just coming back and they're so well treated, and I think Baylor's a place that the same way, like we can build a brotherhood, and I'm just trying to do that for Baylor, make it a great space for future athletes to come and feel like they can grow as a player and as a man off the court, like you said.
That's what I was going to say. To me, it's like a culture thing, too. I mean, obviously, you're going to have a lot of numbers and wins and banners, hopefully, but it's about more than that, right? Because, I've been following Baylor a long time, actually, even longer, and they've always had a strong culture under Drew, but I just feel like the last 2 or 3 years it's gone to a new level with just the way the chemistry and the way you guys practice and the way you guys conduct yourselves. Do you see that kind of –
Yeah, no, we talk about it all the time. We want our culture to be different. We want to be set apart. We don't want to be like everybody else. We want to, like you said, leave a culture. We want to build a culture, the right culture. And, we have stuff we believe in. We believe that, Jesus, others, and ourselves. Like, that's our motto. We build on humility and servant leadership. Like, it's one of those things that for sure that I've been able to grow into and been able to reach back and talk to guys like LJ and, him coming up into the program and, what he's going to be able to do. Like, it's definitely a culture thing.
Absolutely. All right. I do want to ask you about one play from the Illinois game. So late in the game, I think they were you were up 11, maybe 9. You got Georgie. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. You got him isolated in the corner there. And then you had the option to either step back and shoot a 3 over him or give him a little hesitation and take him to the hole. And you gave him the hesitation and took him to the hole. Like, how do you decide that in the spur of the moment? Is it just based on their body language, or is it just a feel for the game?
That's a great question. How do I decide that? I think I decided I didn't make a 3 the whole game. So the option to step back, that didn't go through my head, but I guess throughout the game you kind of have a feel of what's going on, and I think I was able to get in the paint a lot. So I don't know, like it's really hard to explain what goes through my head, but I kind of just hit him with different moves that I have, and then if he falls for one, then it's like that's the one I go for. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, that's about it.
When a big play like that happens and you look over to that bench with the way it's situated now, who stands out the most from your teammates, with the way they're cheering and going crazy?
Jackson Moffitt's mullet is something that stands out for sure. His mullet is rocking, and he's a big time guy on the bench. That stands out for sure.
There was people on Twitter last night that don't know much about Baylor saying, "Put the guy with the mullet in."
Yeah, yeah, man, yeah. He's been growing it out like the past since August, but yeah, man, he's a great guy, man. Great guy.
He's been on the team 2 or 3 years, and they were warming up. I said, "Ashley, who's the dude there? Who's the guy with the mullet?" He said, "That's Moffitt." Oh man, I didn't know. Well, hey, we won't keep Ashley. We anything else from you or?
I want to point out too. One thing I noticed was Dane. I thought Dane's energy off the bench was really good.
Yeah.
But when I was watching from the stands, I think Dane and Jackson were the two that really stuck out. Anytime there's a big
two great guys, man. Yeah. Dane is incredible, but yeah, great time.
Yeah, and it's cool to like see those guys on the bench and then think back to like a year ago when that was JTT and Adam, and then all the exciting things that are happening for them now.
Yeah.
Hopefully those guys see that and realize it. Hey, Jared, man, thanks for taking some time for us today, and we'll be there Saturday to watch another great game. But again, you always are great with the media and have been a really good ambassador for Baylor, so we appreciate it.
Appreciate that. No, thank you all so much for supporting. Yeah.
And hey, good luck on your exams.
Yeah, appreciate that. I need it. Yeah.